Hey, today we've got a response from Arrowhead CEO about hard locking issues and a new game crashing bug. Not only that, Alex Bolle, Arrowhead's production director, just responded to players' questions. Plus, there's so much more to discuss. If you can do me a favor, tap the like button right away and the hype button below. With that said, let's jump in. Okay, what's up, Helldivers? We've got some amazing news that I want to briefly go over. Now, I was going to upload this video yesterday about it, but I was super tired from editing 2 videos and whatnot. Nevertheless, if you don't know, the developers just dropped 2 beta options for Helldivers 2 on Steam. There's Prod Slim and Prod Legacy. So what's cool about this is that they finally slashed the file size big time. If you pick Slim, it drops the install size massively. As you can see here, mine used to be 150 gigabytes, but after switching to Slim and updating, it's now 22 gigabytes. Also, the developers actually wrote up a blog on Steam about it, and right here they explained that the file size changes will result in minimal changes to load times, seconds at most, and I have to agree, I haven't noticed any longer loading times at all. They also admitted they were completely wrong about load times being 10 times worse for hard disk drive users, and said their original projections were based on industry data. On that note, they revealed that only about 11% of players are actually still using hard disk drives, which I think is great news that they were able to figure out everything with the file size. Finally, they went on to say that they're going to make sure the Slim version has no issues, and once they confirm there are no bugs or problems, it will become the default version for everyone, whether you're on HDD or SSD. And again, I think this is great, and I'm honestly hyped that I've got way more room on my PC than I did before. Alright, with that conversation aside for another day, we have some rather sad news regarding the recent patch. I'll give you 3 seconds to guess what it is. 1, 2, 3. The issue is that there's another game crashing bug. I know, it's not surprising at this point, but that's what's going on. And you should absolutely avoid it if you can. So if you don't know, the problem is, if you open up the stratagem menu and reload, it'll crash your game entirely. Now, sure, it sucks, but there's good news. Arrowhead's community manager has spoken up about it. For instance, she wrote, "For your information, if you're experiencing the reload button related crash, we are working on a fix for it. Until then, avoid pressing reload in the stratagem menu, and if you have to rebound your inputs and one of them includes the reload button, you may need to rebind it." As you can see, that's what's going on currently. Thankfully, there's a fix incoming very soon, and we know that's the case, not only because of this post, but because Arrowhead CEO replied to a player who stated the game is crashing every single time they try to use their stratagems, which, by the way, we already know what's causing it. It's all due to the reloading while the stratagem menu is open. Anyway, Shams replied that there's a fix incoming. He also doubled down on that by replying to another player about the same exact issue. If I had to guess, I'd say there very well could be a hotfix update arriving either this Thursday or Friday. I say sooner the better, since this bug can be reproduced without anyone intentionally trying to do it. On a similar note, there have been reports from players that Helldivers 2 is crashing on consoles, and I'm pretty sure it has to do with the recent bug we just covered. Apparently, the crash rate has hit an all-time low. For instance, Arrowhead CEO replied to a player and wrote, "The crash rate on the PS5 is at an all-time low currently, so something is not right on your end. I suggest you ping customer service so they can help you." Now, again, I have a feeling that the reports going around are mainly due to the reload bug, but I'd like to know from you console divers out there. Have you experienced any random crashes? And if so, was it due to the stratagem reload bug? Whatever your answer is, drop it in the comments below, and let's see what you have to say. Next up, we've got a question about hard locking issues on PC, which has been a problem for a while now, and countless players have wondered if Arrowhead is going to speak up about what's going on. Well, we have some news here because they actually have. Just recently, we can see there's a Helldiver who questioned if the devs are going to provide an ETA on when we can expect a fix for it. Shams wrote back to ask if it happens 100% of the time. The previous Helldiver replied that no, it's not 100%. It's somewhere around 50 to 60%, And finally, the conversation ended when Shams said, "I have the same issue, but it's maybe 2-3% of the time. If we could reproduce it 100%, it would be easier to fix. So it requires a lot of detective work currently, but we're making progress." Yeah, it appears that the issue is quite tricky considering they have no idea what's going on since it's hard to reproduce it. Nevertheless, Shams replied to 2 different players about the same exact issue, and both responses were essentially the same about how they're having a difficult time trying to reproduce it and that they're indeed investigating the issue. Hopefully things will get better. I know for certain I'm not a fan of the hard locking issue. It's rather annoying. I think once they're able to figure out what's going on, Helldivers 2 will be in a much better state. It's definitely heading in a better direction right now, currently. The only things left now are to improve performance significantly and resolve the hard locking issue. Oh, and speaking of performance, there's a player that wrote on the official Helldivers Discord that GameGuard is terrible. Shams asked, why? Then a different player chimed in and guessed it's because GameGuard causes performance issues. And finally, Shams replied that this isn't true. They checked everything out and confirmed that GameGuard wasn't causing any sort of performance issues or drops or anything at all. Okay, the last question here is about samples. For those who don't know, if you collect up to 99 samples in total, which is completely possible, the game will actually think you're cheating and won't give you the samples, which really sucks. A player brought this up, and Shams replied that it's being tracked and will be fixed in the future. You might be wondering, why can't they fix it now? I think it all comes down to which bugs are considered a top priority. This particular one might not be. Personally, I don't think it is, but nonetheless, I'll keep you updated on what's going on in the near future. Anyway, not only did Shams reply to a few questions, so did Arrowhead's production director Alex Bolle, and he hinted that there's more content coming very soon. This answer was given after someone asked if there have been any major updates since the Super Earth invasion. Then Alex Bolle replied to the post by writing, "A lot. We've added Hive Worlds, a Hive Lord, a bunch of new missions and enemies, of course a few more war bonds, and more to come very soon." Now, I sure do love new content, but what about optimization and performance improvements? Are they going to do it? Yes, absolutely. They're going to improve performance more, because Alex Bolle had this to say, and he wrote, "Absolutely. The idea is that we'll take more time before every update to do optimization. We'll try to make it a steady improvement. I know the team has discussed DLSS at some point, but I can't remember if it's being planned." Well, I think I can speak for most by saying we for sure need upscaling. If I was able to upscale Helldivers 2 using DLSS, I would be happy, and it would make a huge difference in performance. I do have a prediction, by the way. I think next month or the month after, they're going to announce upscaling. Just a random prediction. Alright, so far we've gone over a hint about new content coming and how they've got plans to improve performance, but what about bugs? Are they going to continue patching issues? Yeah, of course they are, and here's what Alex wrote in response. "Definitely my area. QA is super tied to production. We've started to be more thorough to fix regularly known issues. Some of them have been fixed today, and more to come for the next update. The audio issues have been a big concern and a long investigation. I hope we can fix that for the next release for sure." As you can tell, it looks like the next patch will have even more bug fixes and issues resolved. If they can continue doing so, I think Helldivers 2 will be in a much better position next year, and things will just continue to get better and better. Up next, the last and final question is why the new Maxigun stratagem doesn't have the circle on the crosshair when aiming down sights. Alex said he'll have to check the designers or ask the designer in QA about it to see if it's an issue. If I hear anything about this, I'll let you know in an upcoming video about what's going on with this particular stratagem. Continuing on, we've got some things to talk about regarding the newest Python Commandos Warbond that I think you should absolutely know about. First off, did you know there are 2 different ways to do push-ups? If not, check this out. If you do not have the Peak Physique passive equip, you'll do a normal push-up. However, if you have the passive equip, you can then do a push-up with just one arm. Now, personally, I like that the developers added a secret to it, like how they did with some of the other emotes and victory poses. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I want to bring up in today's video. If you found it helpful, I would greatly appreciate it if you tap the thumbs up button below, subscribe, turn on notifications if you haven't done so already, and yeah, thank you again for checking out the channel, and I appreciate all the support as always.